Hey y'all. Hey. How are you guys? How are you guys? Hey, hi. How is everyone? I want to share my screen with you guys, but me and YouTube just don't go together. I tell you, we're just not regular friends. So if I can't share my screen, I'm sorry. But we'll just get through it here. On YouTube and Instagram as promised. I stuck to my word. If I can't get my live stream up as far as the power, I apologize, but we'll get in it anyway. We won't let that delay. So hey, come on in, y'all. I would say go to YouTube, but you guys can see the same thing. So if you like Instagram better, or if you want to go on YouTube, whatever works for you works for me. The full video will be saved on YouTube. So if you guys want to watch it in its entirety, I promise I'm gonna figure out the share screen thing. I'm gonna figure that out. I gotta just play with it a little bit. All right, so I promised you guys last week. You guys didn't join last week on the webinar. We talked about the basic credit. So this actual webinar is going to be about building personal credit. So if you have credit and you think you're good, this is not for you. But if you are struggling with building credit and you really want to know like the actual foundations of credit and how to actually build once you either mess credit up or you just really don't even have any credit, then stay tuned because that's what we're going to go over. All right. So, hey, YouTube family, I would have had a PowerPoint for you guys, but yeah, me and YouTube haven't figured out everything yet. So I apologize. But as I get better at this, I'll figure out how to share my screen with you guys and make it do what it do. So if you guys have any questions that you want me to answer, drop the questions in the chat. It will allow me to, as we go along, be able to assess you guys or assist you guys in what we're talking about. So as you guys all come in, I appreciate it. I really want to share my screen with you guys, but it's not letting me do it. So any questions, drop the questions in the chat while I get my technical difficulties together here. Maybe I figured out here. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm not gonna stress myself out about this. I'll figure it out for you guys and we'll make it do what it do. All right, cool. For let me put this back to what I was doing. Yeah, bear with me because if anybody knows, I get like doing live webinars is not my jam. So I'm getting used to this technology for sure. All right, cool. So let's rock and roll. So building personal credit. And if you guys have any questions as we go along, just drop them in the chat, YouTube family or Instagram family, structuring your profile. All right, cool. I love that. So the biggest question I get asked is what the heck is the difference between a FICO and a Vantage? To be honest with you, what makes a great credit score, whether it's FICO or Vantage, is an actual good credit report. The scoring modules are different. They measure different things. However, as long as the information in the report is good, that's really all that matters. So most lenders, yes, they do look at your FICO score, which is FICO 8 for the most part. That is the biggest thing that most lenders look at, right? So if I'm looking at two screens, it's because I'm talking to YouTube and I'm talking to you guys. So let's just sharing is caring. But FICO 8 is the biggest scoring model that you can is widely used, I guess we can say. But they're all just as important. But most of the time, when you go look at your, if you're going to get a car or you're trying to get a mortgage, they usually use your FICO score, FICO 8, to be able to determine if they want to lend you something or not. All right, cool. So FICO scoring roadmap. So this is really important to understand because a lot of you guys are trying to build credit without actually understanding how to actually build credit, right? So credit, you automatically get 300 points when building your credit, right? So credit range from 300 to an 850. They already automatically give you 300. It's your goal to try to get to the 850, but it's not something that you're going to just do with a bunch of credit cards. It's not something that you're going to just do with installment loans. It's something that you have to be strategic about. And it's important to know what the actual points that are associated with each, right? So when you're looking at your credit report, payment history, if you guys probably heard me say this a bunch of times, if you haven't, that's cool. But payment history is going to be the biggest thing. It's 35% of your overall credit total. So I had somebody come to me and say, "Oh, I don't have anything on my credit report." Cool, but you have so much late payments. So with the late payments, you're actually doing yourself a disservice because 35% of your overall credit is payment history, right? So that is the first thing. And payment history is going to be 192.5 points. 192.5 points is going to make up your credit when you decide to pay your bills on time. So if you're somebody that's struggling with bad credit, you probably are struggling with payment history. That's probably the issue. Payment history. It's 192 points. So one late payment is going to knock you off the rocker. It is going to literally set you back. And I was coaching somebody yesterday, and I had to explain to them that usually a payment history after a late payment after 2 years is not affecting you the same way it would have if when you first originally got the late payment. And it takes 11 on-time payments in order to cancel out, so to say, a negative late payment. So if you have 11 on-time payments, it will overshadow that one late payment. That's important to understand. Somebody said, if I don't have a business credit, but my personal credit is excellent, and I want to purchase a commercial truck, can I later change it over to business credit? Absolutely. Yeah, you can. You can do it with Bank of America. How much is a one-on-one session with me? Depends on what kind of session you want. If you inbox me, I'll be more than happy to answer that for you. But I do offer one-on-one sessions for personal and business. All right, cool. So the next thing is age of credit, right? Or let's do credit utilization because that's the most important too. Credit utilization is 30% of your overall credit. So that makes up 165 points of your overall credit. 165 points. So I just told you that payment history is 192 points. So if you miss one late payment, you're already losing out, right? And then in credit utilization, it's 165 points. So credit utilization is how much credit are you actually using, right? How much credit, you're more than welcome. How much credit are you actually using? Better known as your debt to income ratio. So are you maxing out credit cards? Are you paying your balances down to zero? And I'll explain to you that whole paying your balance down to zero thing in a little while. But it literally means how much credit are you using? That's 165 points. So when you think about credit, if you're leaving 165 points on the table, you're getting late payments, so you're leaving 192 points on the table. That's why you have a 500 credit score, because you're already missing the two major data points on your credit, right? So then we have age of credit. Age of credit is 15%. So how long have you had credit? The biggest mistake I see people that I work with make is they try to build credit entirely too fast. And I know whoever joined me last week, we talked about this, where it is something that is going to take time. If you try to build credit in a day, then your age of credit is always going to be very low. So you want to make sure that when you're building credit, you actually allow the credit to mature. You allow it to you allow it to age. If you're like every other day you're applying for a new credit card, then your age of credit is going to constantly become lower. It's constantly going to be in a situation where you're fighting for these 82 points because you're never allowing your credit to actually age. So you do not want to get a bunch of credit cards or a bunch of installment loans or a bunch of anything too fast, because literally you're leaving 82 points on the table just off the bat, right? So the next thing is hard inquiries. You guys get so worked up over hard inquiries, right? You cannot remove a hard inquiry on your credit. Sorry, YouTube. You cannot remove a hard inquiry on your credit if the actual inquiry is attached to an open account. Everybody comes to me lately, and this has been like a trend where you guys feel like, well, I want that inquiry removed off my credit. But if you actually got an open line of credit with that inquiry, it cannot come off. It is a valid inquiry. And a lot of you guys don't understand that part of it. If you have an open account, then that open account has to come with an inquiry, right? Now, if you went to a car dealership, sorry, YouTube, it's getting a little fuzzy over here. I apologize. If you went to a car dealership and you got 100 or inquiries and you only got a loan with Ally Financial, you didn't get it with Capital One, you didn't get it with Navy, then yes, those have legitimacy to be removed. But if it's attached to an open account, it has to stay there. So with hard inquiries, it's 55 points. Listen, you guys will literally call me and be so stressed out about inquiries, and it's only 55 points. You should be more stressed out about payment history. And I'm not saying hard inquiries are not important, but what I am saying is that the same way y'all harass me about these inquiries is the same way y'all need to harass me about budgeting. Because you get 192 points for payment history, 165 points for credit utilization, and hard inquiries are only 55. So you tell me which one is more important. In my opinion, payment history and credit utilization. Yes, you don't want a bunch of inquiries. You only need 4. 4 is the max. However, it's only 55 points, right? All right, so the last thing is credit mixture. You cannot build a solid foundation on a credit profile if you are only planning on getting a bunch of credit cards, or I want to go get a bunch of authorized users. Last week, we talked about people who build credit only on authorized users. Listen, banks know it's an authorized user. They know that you did not actually use your credit to actually get that line of credit. So let's just stop with the authorized users, right? Let's all swear that today is going to be the day that we do not try to beat the system by just using authorized users, right? That we're just going to stop that there. We are going to build credit and mature credit the correct way. Mixture of credit is 55 points. And I'm going to teach you about the mixture of credit in 2 seconds. But those of you who have been struggling to figure out what your credit score is made of, why is your credit not going to 800 credit score? Why is it that you can't get past 700? It's because you're not hitting all the data points. That's why. Because you're not paying attention to your payment history. You're using too much credit. Your age is awful. You have more than 4 inquiries, and your mixture of credit is just not there. So when you think of a credit report, you have to think of the roadmap. In order to have a great report, it needs all of these things. All of these things matter. Now, if you hit all of these things over time, you're going to have a great credit profile for sure. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? YouTube? Hey, Rich. Instagram? Anybody? Or we're good. We're moving. All right, cool. So how do I build credit? Now that I taught you all this good stuff about the fact that you need to pay more attention, now how do you build? I need you guys to get a pen and paper. I'm sorry I can't show you guys the slideshow, but if you guys are watching, you need to write these down. These are like Bible rules. These are rules that I stand by. The first thing, and I know most of you guys who I work with or who have called me don't have this, so you need to go get this. And I didn't even know this until I studied another young lady, and I was like, this actually makes sense. And I was like, this is definitely something that needs to happen, because this is probably why most of you guys are getting denied. It's having a checking and a savings account. Most of you guys do not have a checking and savings account. Most of you guys are operating on Cash App. I hate to break it to you. Can you review the points again? Yeah, of course. I hate to break it to you, the Cash App is not a bank. You need an actual bank. You need a checking and a savings account. Okay, why the heck do I need a checking and savings account? It's because when you go and say, I want to apply for a credit card, how are you going to pay for that credit card if you don't have a bank account? How? Because I don't know about you, but I never been able to pay a credit card in cash. I've always had to use an ACH, right? So a bank wants to know that you're a responsible adult and you have a checking and a savings. They can see that you have a checkings and savings. They can't actually see the amount, but they can see if it's overdraft. So we are not, hey, we are not overdrafting things. Make sure we have a minimum of $10. If you guys are trying to build credit, I hope you guys are financially in a place where you can have $10 in your checking account. Okay. Somebody just wanted me to review the points one more time, so sorry about this. Payment history is 192.5. Age of credit is 82.5. Credit utilization is 165. And then hard inquiries is 55. And credit mixture is 55. Okay, cool. So that's rule number one. You need to have a checkings and savings. I need everybody to grow up and stop thinking that Cash App is our bank, because it's not. We need an actual bank account, okay? The second thing is going to be you need to apply for a beginner credit card. You guys are always trying to jump off the porch. I don't know how many people reach out to me and say, I want a high limit credit card. Well, do you have a credit report worthy of a high limit credit card? Can you showcase that your credit report is worthy of a high limit, right? So you need to start somewhere. So we're going to start at the beginning. I went over with you guys, YouTube family, last week, so bear with me about credit cards, but Instagram, I didn't teach you guys this yet, so we're going to go through it. But you need to apply for a beginner credit card. We are not going to go apply for Amex on the first try. Our credit report cannot support it. Okay. Somebody asked a couple months ago, I thought you could pay another credit card with another credit card. That's like advanced stuff, but I wouldn't say no, but I want to say yes. Rule number 3, applying for a short-term installment loan. I told you guys that credit mixture is very important, so you need to apply for installment loan, not just credit cards, okay? Your credit report cannot be made up of just credit cards. So you need an installment loan, and I'll tell you guys what installment loans are as we go through. Rule number 4, you need to be reporting 10% or less on your credit utilization. How many of you think that 30% is the golden rule? You've been taught that as long as you keep your credit under 30%, that you're golden. And if those of you who are new, because I know my YouTube family knows, this is the honest section. We tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So if you thought 30% was the golden rule, then let me know, because I did. I was once you guys. Listen, everything I teach and everything I go through, it is a myth. I'm gonna be honest. I thought 30% was cool too, until I started really understanding how to maximize credit. And let me tell you, yep, you did. Cool. You were just like me. I was there too. I thought I was doing something with my 30%. I thought 30% was what we needed. Let me switch over to YouTube. And if you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, you guys know that is where I really be in me at. And you guys get all things. So if you guys haven't subscribed, go ahead and go subscribe. We are live on YouTube as well. I was told 50%. Okay, cool. So the truth is it's 10%. The truth is it's 10%. 10% or less is where you can maximize your overall credit utilization. I will tell you there is going to be a scenario where you need to be under 1 to 3, but 10% or lower is where you need to be at. Okay? Rule number 5, avoid applying for any new lines of credit. All you guys want to go and be all credit happy and apply for something new every other day. No. When building credit, we're not going to keep applying for credit. We need to build. So we need to set a foundation and let it nurture. Allow it to grow. You're not going to plant a flower and think it's going to grow when you wake up in the morning. It's not how it goes. You have to treat credit like real life. And I will be honest with you, some of the things in credit just doesn't make any sense. And I know that. I learned from people who always say it, but listen, I didn't make the rules. I'm just here to teach you it and make sure that we are players of the game. I don't, just like we didn't make the rules of basketball, we didn't make the rules of football. We just here to play the game, and that's just what it is. America don't make sense half the time, but here we are, still living here, right? All right, so cool. Hey Vanessa, hey family. My YouTube family is so cute. All right, so the next thing is ask for a credit increase within 90 days. Everybody comes to me like, hey, I want more credit cards. Why won't you just utilize the credit cards you have? Navy Federal has given me 4 increases within a year. I started off with $2,000 credit limit with them. I think my current limit is somewhere of 10,000 or something of that nature on Navy Federal. And I got that card like 2 years ago. I've had 4 credit increases within a year. Won't you can utilize the credit cards that you have. Ask for increases. It's okay. They don't pull your credit, banks don't pull your credit to ask for increase. So if you want a higher limit, why not ask for a limit with the relationship you've already built, right? That makes the most sense. All right, cool. So you guys, that's 6 rules, okay, that you guys need to abide by. So I call these next set of rules sink or swim. These rules are going to determine how much you actually want to be in the credit game. You need Vanessa, I got you. Text me, I'll help you with Navy. These rules are called sink or swim, okay? Because either you're gonna get down or you're gonna drown. That's this way I can put it to you. You go in the pool thinking that you can swim and you can't, you're gonna drown. So you guys need to know that if you follow this stuff, I promise you're gonna swim. But it's up to you. You're gonna swim or you're gonna sink. Okay. So the next set of rules that I live by, and you guys should too, especially when building, is do not miss any payments. I don't care what's happening. Do not miss that minimum payment for the life of you. If your minimum payment is $25, I don't care who you have to borrow it from. Go get that $25, okay? Because that one late payment, I just told y'all, is 192 points. So do not miss a late payment. I don't care who you got to call for that money. The next one is do not report 0% usage on your credit card. Like whatever you do not. Now, I know you're like, why? That'll make no sense. Why this is one of those things that doesn't make any sense. The reason why you don't want to report 0% usage on your credit card is because banks make money off of the interest, right? So if you and your good paying self decides I'm gonna pay my credit cards in full every month, right? They're like, well, why? When you go apply for a new credit card, it's gonna show up like you don't have credit because you pay credit to 0 every month, right? Now, if you show a little $50 balance or so, then a credit card company will be like, oh, we can make money off of them. They hold a balance every month. So now they're more inclined to want to do business with you, right? They're more inclined to want to do business with you. So if you leave a little something, then you go apply for that credit card, they're going to be like, oh, this is a money maker. I could make money off of them. Let me give them a credit line of credit. It's stupid. I know, but this is how banks think. It's just like in the real world, right? When you know you could get over on somebody, if you're that type of person, you're going to do it. That's how evil people can be. The credit card companies is just as evil. They play just the same dirty game, right? So don't leave $0 on your credit, right? Just leave a little something so they know that, oh, this is money. Because the only way they can make money is if they know that you are going to roll over a balance and they can charge you interest. All right. Somebody asked, I paid 4 of my credit cards all the way thinking that I was good because I'm looking for a mortgage. Now, okay, some situations like a mortgage, you want a debt to income ratio of 0 because you don't want to show that you owe a bunch of debt. This is for when you're trying to apply for a new credit card, right? This applies for you're trying to apply for a new credit card. When you want to get approved, this is how you get approved. But if you're getting a mortgage, yeah, pay them things down to 0 for sure. So you didn't do anything wrong. All right, cool. Next thing is before applying for any new lines of credit, you want to pay your credit cards down to 3%. So I told you guys 10%. 10% is like when you're not really doing nothing. You're not active. You're not outside. You're not trying to go get no new credit cards. You're not trying to get a car or anything like that. Keep it at 10. That's a cool, modest way for your credit. But when you're trying to go apply for new credit cards, you want to get it under 3% because you don't want to show that you're using too much of your credit, but you don't want to show that you're not using any of your credit. So it's that stupid thing of don't pay it down to 0, but don't pay it over 3%. Okay? And the next thing is allow your credit cards to age for at least 6 months. You're welcome. Allow your credit cards to age for at least 6 months. You guys be so thirsty to go apply for a bunch of credit cards. I know Instagram has made it so glorified or that you need to go apply for every credit card under the sun. I mean, I've been there. I told y'all the other day that I downgraded my Amex Platinum because I was doing too much. I got 4 Amexes in a week. You talk about annual fees? Out of this world. It was ridiculous, right? So you have to allow your actual credit cards to age. So I recommend that whenever you're going through like your credit card cycles, I think you should apply for 2 at a time. So if you're gonna go apply for a credit card, I would do max 2, and then I wouldn't apply for any new credit cards for 6 months. I wouldn't apply for any new credit cards, do nothing for 6 months. I want things to get seasoned. And then after 6 months, we start over again. There is something called credit card stacking when you can apply for a number of credit cards at one time. But for people who are not trying to be all savvy and advanced with this whole credit thing and just trying to really just be basic with it and get to the next level, slow and steady, allow your credit to age for at least 6 months. All right. So the next one is pay your credit cards and allow them to sit for 5 to 7 days. This is my favorite rule because most people don't know this, but whenever you use your credit card and then you go payment by the statement date or the due date, a lot of you guys go the next day and use your credit cards right again. So you pay on the 7th and on the 8th, you back outside. You back to using the credit card. But you never allowed it time to actually report to your credit report. And your credit report needs to be notified that you made that payment. So there's something called a blackout date where you want to pay your credit card and leave it alone for 5 to 7 days and then go use your credit card again. Because if you guys notice, if you guys have your credit report in front of you or after this live, you go take the time to see your credit report, you'll realize that it'll say credit card post date, I believe that says on the credit report. It will say or report date, last reported. And you'll notice that'll be like 4 days off or 5 days off from your actual credit card due date. That's because the creditors need to report to the credit report that you actually made the payment. Now, if you make the payment and then use the credit card the next day, then guess what? The balance that you actually accrued the next day is what's going to report to your credit report. And that's why a lot of you guys get jammed up on high utilization because you guys are trying to use your credit card too soon. So you need to pay that thing and go use another credit card or pay it and go to use the debit card. I don't know, but don't use that card for at least 5 to 7 days. All right. And then the biggest one, I don't know, Instagram got you guys all jacked up with this too, but it's cool because we were breaking myths here. Don't pay any installment loans too early. I know you guys been taught, go get an installment loan and pay it right away. No. The whole point of us getting the installment loan is to show payment history and show age. Now, if you go and pay that thing early and then it gets closed, we don't have no age and we don't have no payment history to report. You just open it and then closed it. So it didn't do what it was supposed to do. So if you're going to go get an installment loan, a short-term installment loan, then you got to make sure that it does what it needs to do. It reports the age, it reports the payment history. Ride that thing out. We don't do things on a credit report just to do that or just because Instagram said, oh, well, I should go do that and I'm going to go pay it off. No, we didn't maximize what we needed to maximize. Our whole point of doing these things is so that we get all the points, right? So that's my sink or swim rules. If you, I forgot one. When you decide you want to pay your minimum payments, if you are in a place or you're financially disciplined to do this, I do recommend that you do use autopay. Some of my credit cards are on autopay. Some of them are not. Not going to lie. Some of them minimum payments are higher than I would like them to be, like my Amex is. And other ones, it's fine. Do what works for you. But what I would tell you is don't miss a minimum payment. I'm not here to tell you guys put your bills on autopay because I know me. And don't take my money without me knowing. I need to remember that I want to pay y'all, right? So you guys do what works for you guys. Somebody asked, what's the shortest period? 36 months is considered a short-term installment. And I'll go through that with you. But those are a sink or swim. All right. So I know the next question, and YouTube, you probably heard this, so just bear with me. We're trying to get everybody caught up on our series together. But credit cards. So I just told y'all all this stuff, right? What credit cards do you go apply for? When building, well, okay. Well, what cards do we go get, and why do we go get them, and what's what for what? So I name credit card tiers the way I think of credit cards. I'll give you the proper name, but we're gonna call them what I like to call them. So the first one is your sub cards, right? I call that the ghetto. Those cards have high interest. They're secured lines, low limit. It's ghetto over there, right? But sometimes we got to start at the bottom and then we get to the top. So there's nothing wrong with using a card that I think is ghetto, but eventually get to the next phase, which I call a starter card. And starter cards are like you jumping off the porch. Like, all right, we almost there. These are secured lines. They have low limits and they have potential for growth. And then the next one is your mid-tier cards, and I call them the moving on. Those are the cards I call that. It's the rewards, high credit lines, and growth cards. And then we have the Mama I Made It cards, the premier cards. So they have great rewards, high limits, and great incentives. So we have the ghetto, jumping off the porch, moving on up, and Mama I Made It. If you want the technical terms for them, it's sub, starters, mid tiers, and then premier cards. All right. So with those cards, jumping off the porch, the jumping off the porch cards. Let's start with the ghetto. So the ghetto cards, these cards are so whack. I don't even like these cards. But I'm gonna give it to y'all because this is what y'all need to know. So it's gonna be your Tomo cards, your Bank of America secure cards. You can even put your Navy Federal secure cards in here. I really hate this bank, but Credit One, not Capital One, Credit One, right? And then you're gonna have your Open Sky. These are cards that you don't want to stay here too long. These are literally so we can eventually jump off the porch. You're not gonna get rich off these cards. They're not gonna be the best thing ever moving, right? We're trying to get our feet wet. And I know somebody's gonna ask me, well, how much money should I put on a secure card? Listen, I think it's better to put, if you guys have $500, right? Or let's do $1,000. I don't think it's beneficial to put $1,000 on one card. I think it would be more beneficial to put 500 on two cards. Why? Because we are able to now have payment history working two ways for us. We have two cards that we can manage. Your secure credit cards are not going to get you to the moon. We just need them to get us started, right? So I don't want you to waste all your credit limit on one card. You can split it up. I also don't think that you should get more than two secure cards. Their whole report should not be made up of a bunch of secure cards. I don't think that is helpful. I think that we need to start somewhere, and then after we start there, we can move on. All right? So that's the ghetto. Once we get out of the ghetto, we jumping off the porch. Those are your starter cards. This is where I live. I think that once you get here, it's a cool, safe place to be. If you never get off of after you jump off the porch, if you never go decide to fly a plane, that's cool, right? But these are going to be your Discover It cards. I love Discover. Capital One was my first credit card ever. I still have that card to this day. They definitely do not like to give you a credit increase, but they're just a good card to have, especially if you're trying to just start. And then you have the Citizen secured card. You have the Navy Federal. Local credit unions are my jam. If you don't do business with your local credit union, when you get off this, you need to go do business with your local credit union. Capital One Silver, Capital One Platinum, and then your Chime builders. All you guys love Chime. Chime. I'm not a big fan of Chime, but we can throw Chime there. Somebody said, what about the Navy Federal Pledge Loan? Yep, I'll tell you where that fits in 2 seconds. All right, so moving on up. This is when the big dogs come out, but Do not think you're about to go get these cards and you're not about to have an annual fee, because you are. So if you're not willing to pay to play, then stay jumping off the porch. All right. So moving on up, excuse me. You have your Chase Freedom, you have your Amex Gold, you have your Citizen, you have your Navy Federal. I like the green or the blue. I mean the green cash rewards or the black flagship. American Airlines Barclay. I like that card. You have your Amex, and then you have your Apple. Apple's okay. It's like a basic card, but it's really easy to get. So I put that there as well. So that's gonna be your moving on up cards, right? So then Mama I Made It. Now listen, Mama I Made It is your Amex Platinum. I literally just told you guys I didn't make it. I don't want that card anymore. The annual fee is beyond me, right? Delta Sky, Capital One, and Chase. Those are going to be the ones that, when you are really doing big business, I'd have the Delta Sky. I had the Amex Platinum. I gave that up. I don't have Chase. Those are the only ones I don't have. All the other ones are my jam. And the last thing you guys asked about short-term installments. What are they? And where should you go for them? So self lender has good um, self has good short-term installments. Um, and before I go any further, short-term installment loans are anything under 30%. So 30% or under. So it's not going to be, probably not going to be your car note or your mortgage. It's going to be things like, when you go to the furniture store, you can definitely get a short-term installment from the furniture store. You can go to Lightstream, Chime Builder, and Navy Federal Pledge Loan is definitely one of those for short-term installments. I like $2,000 for a Navy Federal Pledge Loan. That's my safe space. I don't think there's any right or wrong, but when I do recommend $2,000. And then you have your self builder. Self is always easy as well to do. So that's how you build a credit report, right? I just gave you guys 40 minutes of how to actually build an entire credit report and the actual things that you need to know about building a credit report. It is not that hard. However, there are rules that you have to play by. If you don't play the game the way they want you to play it, then you're never going to get where you need to go. And you're going to constantly be frustrated, and you're constantly be hiring somebody like me to help you through this process. I just gave you the whole team. What if you got denied for Lightstream? It's because your credit profile is probably not where it needs to be. Because my short-term installment is from Lightstream for sure. Someone asked, okay, what are your thoughts on kickoff credit lines? I hate kickoff. I don't know. I don't like kickoff. I'm not saying they're bad, but I just don't like them. It's not my thing. Um, if self you invest in yourself, I was always confused about that. Yeah. So self is like a secured, it's like a secured line of credit for sure. Most installment loans outside of furniture stores are probably going to be something that you are secured, um, but they're definitely necessary. Or if you get furniture or something of that nature. I think Navy Federal Pledge Loan is probably my favorite if you think of short-term loans. Just my opinion. Those are my favorite. I hope that answered you. All right. Any questions? Did I answer everything? Did you guys learn some stuff? YouTube asked me to do these lives every Sunday. So I'm going to try to keep up with you guys. We're trying to go live every Sunday. You're welcome. No problem. Every Sunday so that we can just learn some new stuff about credit. Sometimes I may go over this for people who missed it because people do request that I reteach some stuff. But if you guys send me questions, I will try to make Sundays geared towards the questions that you asked me. I know a lot of you guys want to learn about how to leverage business and stuff, but listen, I think that we've gotten so off topic about personal credit and we all just want business credit. That's what I wanted to do these on Sundays because I think personal credit is more important, in my opinion, than business credit. Because without personal, you can't really leverage business in any way. So I that's why people always ask me what I like more. I love personal credit more. I always will. I do have business credit cards. I do have business credit, but personal credit has opened doors that have allowed me to do what I do. So that's why I enjoy teaching it. And I'll take personal credit over business any day. Um, that's just me. Um, if you finish off your self line and get a credit card, do you recommend doing another? Um, so you had a self before you and got a credit card. Do you recommend doing another? Well, I would say now continue building because if you did a short term loan once, and it worked out for you, you can do another one, but you also can like start applying for other things. Like if you have a car note, if you maybe put a mortgage on there, like you can keep graduating. You don't have to keep using the same technique over and over because the whole point is just to make sure that the age was reported. If the age was reported, you did what you need to do, you can move on to another chapter. Um, Yeah, I believe I have a coaching call with you on Tuesday, Vanessa. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. I know you guys asked me, do I coach on this? And I do. My packages are super affordable. Um, if you want, I will literally walk you through how to repair your own credit for $60 a month. I will help you through the whole entire process. I don't know if you guys were on with me live the other day. I was coaching somebody on how to repair their own credit. I would teach you all the sauce. The people who are in my program are people who just don't have time. They don't want to do it themselves, or they literally like working with me to help them get to the finish line a little faster. But I offer programs for everybody, and anybody who's in my program knows that I enjoy what I do and I love what I do. And if you come to me, you're going to be in a better position than what you started, whether it's budgeting, whether it's credit, whatever it is. And I stand on that. But oh yeah, I think I have a call. I have a lot of calls with you guys tomorrow, I believe. I can't wait to talk to you guys. Yeah, you're welcome, Erica. I hope that answered your question for sure. Oh, thank you. Someone says she's amazing at what she do. I really appreciate that for sure. Um, what about business? Yep, I have a package for business. My business package, I'll build a business for you. So I'll do all the structural work, um, all that type of stuff. If you have a business and it's all jacked up, I'll fix it. So there's a package for everything for sure. Yeah, I would love to connect with you. If you DM me, I'll send you all the information. Should you pay a charge off? So I don't recommend paying anything. If it's something that has negative remarks that is questionable. So if there is some discrepancies, but it's important to know the difference between charged off and collections. Charged off just means that you didn't pay the debt and the debt is no longer salvageable. Collections means somebody's actively trying to go get their money. Means that it probably was sold to a third party and they want their money. So um, you should pay a charge off if they're going to give you a letter of deletion. However, me personally, if you're asking me, I'm not paying anything off without a fight, especially if there's some issues with that account. If it's not something, if all the information doesn't align across the board, DM doesn't work. My DM doesn't work. You sure? I don't know. If you comment under like one of my recent posts or something, just say, "Hey, DM me." I'll DM you. But I don't know why it's not working. It should be working. Um, all right. Any more questions before we go? This was cool. I hope you guys learned something. I hope I answered as many questions as I could. YouTube family, I love y'all. If you guys are not following me on YouTube, I hope you encourage you guys to do so. Um, I share a lot more about myself there. You guys see some clips. I'm turning 30 and I'm stressed out. So that video is over there. I will be dropping a YouTube video in a week or so about how I actually built a business in the basement of my job. A lot of you guys have been asking me about how to work a 9 to 5 and build a business. Um, I some cool things. I just celebrated. You're welcome. I just celebrated my 3 years of full-time entrepreneur, which is super exciting. 650 turns 5 in May. So good, some cool things. I'll attempt it. Okay, no problem. Some cool things have been happening. I'm excited and grateful, and I can't do anything I do without you guys. So to be in 5 years in business and 3 years full time by myself is literally have been a blessing. And I'm grateful. And I hope that whoever has worked with me or is looking to work with me, that you guys feel my passion and know that I love this. I live for this. And I just want you guys to be better. This is not a money thing for me. This is literally something that has changed my life, like literally changed my life. And I hope that improving your credit will change yours too, for sure. Um, yes, 30s club. Oh God, turning 30 is stressing me out. But I love y'all. This has been beautiful. Okay, just email me. I mean, not okay, yeah. How about you email me? And I think let me put my email here, and I'll answer your email. I don't know why my DMs are not working. People have been DMing me all day. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I will save this video on YouTube, so if you guys want to watch the replay, it will be on YouTube. And I'll see you guys next Sunday. I won't be here the Sunday after that because I will be away, but I'll try to keep these up as much as I can, and I'll try to be present. And anybody that does want to work with me or just wants a free consultation, look, you don't have the money to work with me, but you're like, hey, can you just look at my credit report and tell me what I should do? I'm for that. I'm for whatever works for you, works for me. So I appreciate you guys. I love y'all, and happy Sunday. Bye, YouTube family.